I love your question about risk. What is risk? Well, and I think risk is dependent on time and place. When you nobody wants to take unnecessary risk. Is there going to be a risk reward outcome where the reward greatly exceeds the risk that's taken? Now go back to that time situation. When you're in the middle of an epic, then picking the leaders, you're in their time zone. Of course you should pick them. That's low risk, high reward. But when you're in at the cusp of a transition between one technology and another technology, now you got to balance that risk reward concept. Am I picking something that's not going to be successful in the future? Should I stick with the current leader? How much longer? Do I want to spend the money now? Questions, though, that I think I see people asking in that decision making that I don't find as compelling are, who's the larger? Who's everybody using? There's never been a situation where the new guy who dominated the next generation was large at the beginning. The guys that dominated the previous generation were always far, far, far larger, but very few of them made the transition, because transitions mean you sacrifice your current market in order to get the other, and you rarely are able to charge more. You really have to deal with it. And they pointed this out in many books. The guys that led in the bulbs didn't get into transistors. The guys that got into transistors never got to chips. The guys that were in steam stayed in steam. A lot of new guys came into electricity. We have this example again and again and again in revolutionary times. And the new guys were never the big guys during that time. Now you have to decide what's compelling. And you can go in and look at that. And I would say things like, look at the server, look at the size of AWS. Can you compare with that? And you start thinking, maybe I should do software as a service. What I wouldn't do is say, what is everybody using today? Because while that is safe, is it safe? Are you going to be vulnerable to those guys that are making that? Is there a transition underway and you're not doing it? Because people who decide to make that transition do so because they have a strategic advantage, and they're planning on taking that strategic advantage right at you. And if you haven't seen that risk coming, you better look around your backside, because that's really there. And what's that going to be? It's going to cost them a lot less. They're buying, not building. They're going to have a lot more power. The product that they're producing is going to be far more consistent and predictable, and is going to assure customer satisfaction at a much higher level. And they're going to be able to charge a lot less while making more and taking your business away. So I think it's a time, if you can say to yourself, we're in the middle of an epic, there is no revolution going on right now, then you probably, go with the leaders, and that's low risk. But we know we're in a digital age. We know lots of things are coming at us. We know that everybody's talking about it. And so making those decisions to go with the legacy systems is a risk that probably won't pay off over time. Or that's a risk that has a limited reward.